Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us via the live tab on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. It's the Football New South Wales League One Women's Match of the Round, and we are in the heart of Western Sydney at Landon Stadium for Blacktown City versus Hills United. Well, for the host, Blacktown City, it's been a very promising start to the 2024 season. Only one defeat so far, 4 wins, and they're sitting pretty in 6th place as we head into this round 8 fixture. Blacktown City also successful in midweek, travelling away to Northern Suburbs outfit UTSFC and defeating them 2-0 with goals from Elise May McCutcheon and Amelia Savetta. But for the women of the Hills, Hills United, they're doing absolutely brilliantly. They are at the top of the table, and they are one of only 2 undefeated teams as we head into this clash. Eric Subihana here on the mic from the grandstand here at Landon Stadium. Absolutely delighted to be here, and we look set for a fascinating clash, because it's not just any League One women's clash. This is a derby. 2 very, very near rivals, and 2 teams who have at times both used this stadium for home games. And you know what they say about derbies? They tend to be just that little bit more spicy. That's what we're hoping to see here this afternoon. For those of you less familiar with the 2 teams, it's traditional kits for both. Blacktown City, as their name would suggest, in the all-black kit, while for Hills United's yellow jerseys, it's a navy shorts and the white socks. Blacktown will kick off going from left to right as we see things, and might just have enough time to run through the 2 starting lineups right at the start of the game. Meanwhile, there's the whistle. Away we go. So for Blacktown City, in goal, number 1, Anna Ivanovic. Then there's number 2, Ainsley Byrne. Number 5, Lexi Thorpe. Number 7, Claire Shimonicek. Number 9, Elise May McCutcheon. Number 11 is their captain, the Welsh wizard, Jenny Hughes. Number 14, Amelia Savetta. Number 15, Olivia Moore. Number 18, Amber Precious. Number 21, Eloise Hansen. And number 26, Samantha Cole. Blacktown City are coached by Michael Hawthorne. And by the way, shout out to Rachel Chalhoub for her help in giving me the Blacktown lineup before kickoff. Thanks so much, Rachel. While for Hills United, their lineup in goal, their captain is the clean sheet queen of League One Women's, number 1, Sarah Easthope. Then we're expecting a back 4, so left back, number 22, Zoe Wilson. In central defence, number 13, Desiree Galea, and number 3, Aisling Davidson. At right back, number 21, Rani Plummer. 4 in midfield with number 5, Olivia Shembry, and just in front of her, number 10, Bianca Galliini. Number 15, Madison Tassis, and number 7, Alex Attard. And 2 up front for Hills, number 14, Ellen Berrios, and on her return to Landon Stadium, number 12, former Blacktown City player Kaylee Shannon. Hills United are coached by Alan Tassis. So I mentioned cup action. As I said, Blacktown City successful up at Charles B. Noble in Linfield on Wednesday, dumping UTS FC out of the cup. So you could say they taught their Northern Suburbs opponents a lesson on Wednesday night. And Blacktown City in the hat for Sapphire Cup round 3. Hills United, they get their cup action away in 3 days' time, Wednesday night, at Bella Vista Public School, and they take on fellow League One women's outfit Mount Druitt Town Rangers, and that really is the pick of the Sapphire Cup action for round 2. Now, Ivanovic is aiming that towards the near touchline, and Zoe Wilson there with an early intervention to stop that from getting any further. Also, as Davidson clears that skyward, and Blacktown have been making big moves off the field. Ellen Berrios chasing this ball and trying to use her body to get that into the box. Berrios is successful, now needs support, which we get from Galliini. And Galliini, cross is cleared. Davidson might have got a toe in there, and now it's Attard to Tassis. By the way, as Kaylee Shannon is battling for possession there, please forgive me if by force of habit I refer to Madison Tassis and Alex Attard by their previous names before they got married. But yes, Alex Attard in particular, still known as Robbo. In fact, chatting to Alan Tassis pre-game, he said, "Well, we're just going to keep calling you Robbo if that's okay." So even if formal names change, nicknames certainly do not. And of course, congratulations to Madison Tassis, who actually got married recently, and it's good to see. We saw that on the Hills United socials. They're really trying to make it a real family feel at Hills United Football Club, so they did celebrate the nuptials of Madison Tassis and her new husband, Paul. Now, as there's Hughes, who referee thought about blowing the whistle, then thought against it. Blacktown, there's Hughes again, and now Savetta with good quick feet. He's trying to release the player down the far side, which is Shimonicek. As for Blacktown City, yes, as I was trying to say earlier, they made big moves recently off the field with the appointment of Matthew Costantini as their new women's technical director, and really you could see the Costantini revolution underway at Landon Stadium because Matthew, a man with a great deal of experience both in this league and in NPL Women's New South Wales, the tier above, and he was the man. He's really a promotion specialist. He got RPL Leichhardt promoted from this division at the end of the 2019 season. So, in some sense, all that success RPL Leichhardt have achieved now, they're defending NPL premiers and the inaugural Sapphire Cup winners. Well, it did start with the new women's technical director for Blacktown, Matthew Costantini. And it's his team that have the first corner of the game. Looking for an in-swinger, and a lot of Blacktown players, they're going to start their runs from the edge of the box. The delivery, well, actually, they're allowed to bounce. Hughes didn't get the contact she wanted, and Hughes might make a play at it again. And for those of you of the Hills United persuasion, always a little bit of a heart flutter when an opponent goes down in the box, but nothing untoward detected by the match officials. As Gallieni playing it towards Berrios, and the pass to Tassis, who holds an opponent off well. It's enthusiastic and derby football early on as the two teams try to settle themselves into this game. And that was Davidson deciding that safety was the option as she clears it away from danger. There's Hansen, and Hills double up on her before it's scooped into the middle. So there's a header needed from Wilson. She's kind of put it more up than forward. And as this goes out, it's going to be a Blacktown throw. By the way, Blacktown's bench. Backup keeper is Amy Harkin. The other options are Sophie Roberts, Tiana Anderson, Lucia Franulovic, Lara Green, and Annabelle Gerard. And while for Hills United, their backup keeper is Bridget Bryan. The other bench options are Brooke Hasty, Bella Donaldson, Ashley Houston Richardson, Helena Berridge, and Portia Berrios. And by the way, thanks to the women's first grade head coach, Alan Tassis, for being so helpful and giving me the lineup before today's game kicked off. Now, that will be a foul called, I think Samantha Cole ruled to a foul to Bianca Gallieni. Well, for Hills United, who this is only their third season as a women's first grade outfit in League One Women's, and they've been incredibly successful since they've come into this competition, making the grand finals in each of the last two seasons. Unlucky on the night both times. But as I said, they're doing brilliantly once again. 5 wins and 2 draws to open the season, and a big success was that 2 weeks ago in front of our cameras when they went away to Bankstown City and defeated them 1-0. Neat second half strike from Bianca Gallieni, proving to be the difference against Bankstown City 2 weeks ago. And they're in front of our cameras again, and you'd think the aim of this season is to go one better than 2022 and 2023, and lift that championship trophy. Of course, there is the potential for both a first-grade premiership and promotion to NPL as well. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of twists and turns in both those races over the next 18 rounds or so. Apologies for my bad maths. 18 rounds. Kelly Shannon, pinged for offside there. Just moved a little bit too early. For Blacktown there, they're looking for a reversal in fortune from the last time they were in front of our cameras. It was in round 2, game up at Plume Park, called by the voice of Central Coast football, Pete Pryor. Central Coast Mariners victorious on that occasion, but if memory serves me correctly, Jenny Hughes was the player to score the goal for Blacktown. Getting a nod and a thumbs up from League One women's expert Justin Davies, so I've got something right for once. But, yes. Blacktown hoping for some more broadcast success in front of their home crowd. There's the pressure coming from Berrios. And now it's Attard. Well, if you've ever seen Alex Attard previously at Blacktown Spartans or Western Sydney Wanderers, you'll know she's very fast. And she used her speed to good effect there to pressure Blacktown and force the turnover. And Attard's also won that free kick. I think that's Attard also taking the set piece. She goes long. Galea's closest to it. She's been able to control the ball. Now looking for Kaylee Shannon. And, yes, I mean, do love going around the grounds, whether it's in this competition or any other competition. So thank you to Justin Davies. He's giving me an update from the A-League Women's semi-final up on the Central Coast between Central Coast Mariners and Sydney FC. It's the first leg there. Sydney FC leading by a goal to nil, thanks to one of St. Mary Star of the Sea's finest. That high school down on the South Coast, that would of course be Mackenzie Hawkesby. And if you're saying, what does that game have to do with League One Women's? Well, I'll segue to that later, don't you worry. But I might even do it now because the Sydney FC bench, a player very familiar with this competition, the player they call the Fig Tree Flyer, Kaylee Talon-Henniker, former player for South Coast Flame. So about 2 years ago, she was just making her way into the South Coast Flame first grade team, and now she's part of the Sydney FC A-League Women's setup. So you can see this competition has been providing a fair few players to the National League in recent years. There's also Annalise Rasmussen on the bench for the Mariners in that game, who was part of the Mariners Academy and in fact has played on this very patch of synthetic turf for the Mariners Academy this season when Mariners played Hills here on the Easter weekend. Also in the other A-League Women's setting, by the way, for another League One Women's alumnus, as I like to call it, Tiana Robertson, who used to play for University of New South Wales and is now in goal for the Newcastle Jets. Now, Galliani taking over. And Blacktown very quick to double up on her. She's still trying to get to that byline. Strong tackle from Hughes, but the ball does not go out. Decent cross, and there's the flick from Berrios. Attard had started to peel away from her defender. The flick took it away from Attard, and it's easy for Anna Ivanovic. Cole plays it forward. Now, Galea, see, it's a decent idea, just not going for clearance. She tried to cushion it for Rani Palmer, but the pass just goes astray. Now it's Attard, who's another strong tackle. And it's very tight on the far side of the field as we see things, although it's actually deceptively warm out there on the pitch, so players might be grateful if the phases of play happen to take them into any part that's covered by shadow. Now it's Berrios, and now Madison Tasses has made the run. She was the furthest forward for Hills. That's cleared. Now Shimonicek for Blacktown. Good control from Savetta. And that was blocked as Shannon was back defending. And Shannon again. There's foot in there from Ainsley Byrne, but the call goes Hills United's way. Here's Zoe Wilson, and that, ooh, it's a bit of an awkward one. And I think the self-defense reflex there from Elise May McCutcheon. It will be a handball, but nothing more. Certainly not going to be a card, but yeah, I think everyone having a bit of a laugh at about that, which is good to see. I mean, yeah, don't worry, Elise, we've all been there. But anyway, Hills United a free kick, Davidson to take. It's up and over Shannon. Now might be a chance for Tassis. It's a decent strike. It's better than decent. It's the opening goal. And Hills United have planted their flag on Blacktown soil. Madison Tassis, in her first start in first grade, has scored an absolute banger. And Hills United are a goal to the good here. The technique was brilliant from the number 15. And in the 15th minute, she's put the visitors in front. That's what you always tell your midfielders when the ball goes high into the box. Position yourself about 5 or so yards outside it to try and pick up the scraps, pick up those second balls. And Madison Tassis definitely returning that one with interest and putting her team in front. That's Hansen. He's got quite the battle there. Galliini is back defending for Plummer. Sends it towards halfway. And Attard might break first, so it's Samantha Cole round on the cover for Blacktown. Plummer going for distance with the throw, and it's helped, I think, possibly by Byrne towards Jenny Hughes, and now McCutcheon. And ball goes astray, and Rani Plummer very coolly lets that run out for a goal kick. For Hills United, that Tassis goal means they've kept up their record of scoring in every game this season so far, and it's, of course, the kind of thing you would expect from the team that is currently leading the league. Hills have been great at the other end, the second stingiest defence, conceding only 4 goals. By the way, congratulations to SD Raiders, who going into this round have the league stingiest defence with only 3 goals conceded. So therefore, no surprise that those two are the 2 undefeated teams. But that Hills defence is a bit of a test there, and I think that was Davidson digging it out and away to safety. Now, there's a strong tackle from Shannon. Didn't quite get the ball, but at least forced a backwards pass to give her teammates a chance to step up. And there we go. The ball's now with today's goal scorer, Madison Tassis. Galliini, in fact, Galliini, a bit of on-field leadership there. She didn't like her forward option, so she went backwards to settle things down. And actually, some verbal instructions from the Hills number 10 as well to her teammates. Now Roberts, it's actually a good tackle from Thorpe. And then Shannon keeps it alive for Hills. Now Plummer. And Shembry, was she caught late? Will go on. I think the ref will play advantage, and is Roberts. Roberts, I think, just overran it slightly, but good first-time pass from Shembry, who was back on her feet very quickly. And Hills will try again. So you did mention it's Madison Tassis' first start in first grade. Bit of a mouthful there, but that is also the case for Zoe Wilson, number 22, Hills left back. So Hills bringing new players into the first grade team and giving the younger ones a chance, which is always good to see. Now Thorpe for Blacktown. Davidson going sideways to Wilson. And I think Davidson might have got a shout just to that she had enough time to bring it down. Galea now runs forward. Threads it through. And also trying to have a play at it, but now it's Blacktown with McCutcheon and Galliini. Good tackle again from the Hills number 10. Tassis going back to Davidson. Now Attard, who's dropped deeper and dragged a defender out of the space. There were runners in behind. You can see what Hills were trying to do there. Instead, they'll go to the left side now. And spare us before. I think that's Olivia Moore getting in the way. Now, I see Eloise Hansen. You can see the task faced by Eloise Hansen today when Blacktown drop back. She's the one that stays up, but it's a bit tougher in that phase of play. Is surrounded by 4 or 5 Hills defenders. And she couldn't hold the ball up that time, but she's got another chance at possession, Hansen, under rather easier circumstances. Now, went well. It would have been a 50-50, and so credit to Zoe Wilson. A little spin, use her body, and then kind of leaving it so McCutcheon couldn't get a play at it. Now, Rani Plummer on the far touchline. And Thorpe won it the first time, but Plummer hasn't given up on it. Blacktown, they're trying to get out of their own defensive third. Now McCutcheon, who's dropped deep. So he tries to help Blacktown secure some good possession. Hughes can turn. Nent, ooh, decent idea, just ended up being, that pass ended up being a bit behind Amelia Savetta. But then Hughes, she'll find one of her teammates this time. And there's Wilson coming forward from left back, and now as she scans for options, there's actually a Savetta, who had a good tackle there, but now Shannon equally good in defence. Shimonik, check, and Hansen on the far side for Blacktown. And now, well, as Attard, I had to think about that surname again there. Sorry, everyone. Apologies, especially to her husband, Brad. But we will go. That will become automatic one day, trust me, Brad. But yes, Alex Attard. Yes, a bit too, shall we say, physical in that challenge, right in front of the technical area. Midway through the first half here at Landon Stadium. If you've just joined us, it is Hills United leading Blacktown City by a 1-0. A goal coming about the 15th minute from Madison Tassis. There's a very nice strike worth from outside the box, worth going back on the YouTube stream and watching it if you haven't already. But there's Roberts, who's got to that ball ahead of Ainsley Byrne. And now Roberts crosses it. Now Shannon gets a touch to it, and Ivanovic had good enough goal sense. Knew it was rolling wide, and the Blacktown keeper didn't need to make a play at it. Oh, look. I think I see Chris Want, Blacktown City superfan. He did tell me on Facebook he was going to watch the first half of the men's game between Wanderers Academy and Blacktown City at Wanderers Football Park before coming over for this one. Good to see Chris is a man of his word. You're going to hear that drum very, very shortly. Ivanovic. He starts with the goal kick, and I think it might be Wilson who's been pinged for the foul there. Shembri, she's done well there, keeping the ball away from two opponents. I think it's going to be a tough one for, I think it was Shembri is there, well, lunging for that, but couldn't keep it in play. Now, as Wilson chases that ball from Galea and didn't get to it, but it's important to put in the effort nonetheless because Wilson ran hard enough to force a clearance over the sideline. Now Hills can set up near the Blacktown penalty area. And in fact, that throw, they'll gain about 10 meters or so. Wilson will have a second go with the throw in. In fact, there's Galea. Saw the chance to step forward from centre back and kind of support the attack. And Blacktown pretty organised this, forcing the Blacktown players to face backwards, and that's Gallieni stealing in. And Gallieni gets past three challenges and might open up for the shot. Here's Gallieni, and it's a good save from Ivanovic to tip it over the bar. Almost would have been one of the goals of the season from Gallieni. Got past three defenders. Didn't look to be much on when she stole in initially, but her technique and speed, and drawing a very good save from Ana Ivanovic. So I wonder if there's any tennis fans out there, because yes, that is also the name, Ana Ivanovic, also the name of a professional women's tennis player, by the way. And I mean, that Ana Ivanovic has at least one thing in common with the Blacktown's Ana Ivanovic, because they're trying to stop things from hitting the net. Corner coming in. And Davidson was attacking it, so was Galea. They almost got in each other's way, and Galea not able to keep it in. So Ivanovic going long with the goal kick, and a little bit of head tennis going on here. Now Thorpe immediately under pressure, so here's Olivia Moore. And then the Hills press. Sees the visitors get the ball back. Now, well, Shannon thinks she's got the touch off Blacktown. Assistant on the far side agrees. Hey, good promising position for anyone who has a decent long throw on them. So I'm looking at, because I do love a long throw, by the way. The way Hills are setting up, I don't think they're going to go for distance, although, of course, Alex Attard, you can't be offside from a throw, and so she just stood right near the corner flag. And I think Blacktown caught a little bit napping there. But there's the clearance towards Wilson. Gallieni almost could see what she was trying to do, flick it with the outside of her foot around the defender, beat one defender but not the second. Now, that's another good tackle there. To Galea it goes. And McCutcheon read that pass well. And McCutcheon, where's this going to go out? Not quite going to be a corner throw in right by the corner flag. And now a chance for Blacktown to put pressure on their opponents. As we reach the half-hour mark here in Seven Hills. And if you just joined us, oh, how nice of the assistant nearest to us to be a ball person as well. Save Sam Cole from moving a couple of extra meters. Now Cole, decent cross, and, well, that was Shibonacek running in there, so Easthope's off a line and is quick enough to get to that head of, I think, the late runner there. Might have been Olivia Moore. It was a nice cross from Sam Cole. He got it in that area between the defenders and the keeper. Easthope felt like she couldn't come out for it. It was, of course, with defenders facing their own goal, difficult to make a clearance. And Cole nearly found a teammate, but here's Hills coming the other way. Kaylee Shannon with the second effort to play a through ball to Gallieni. She's got the touch. Gallieni goes round Ivanovic. And there's enough black jerseys in the way to stop the Hills number 10. Another good run from Gallieni. She nearly ended up with an open goal. The ball didn't quite sit for her. Now that, and the ref not approving of how Cole tried to defend that, so we'll have a Hills free kick. So Davidson going long and dealt well by Blacktown as Davidson put that right where you want it on the penalty spot. And it was good defending. Now, I think my eyes are just good enough. Maybe that was a bit of a sore one for Claire Shimonicek. And it's good to see the ref going over to check on her, but Shimonicek is going to try and run it off. There we go. When in doubt with the throw and just chuck it down the line. And there you go. Blacktown have gained 25 metres with that one throw, so they'll try it again. This time Shembry's trying to get in there for Hills. Now, there's Cole in at the right place at the right time for Blacktown with the interception as they go back to the keeper. Now, there you go. It's, well, I was about to say the midfield press was worked for Hills, but it's going to be a free kick that will allow the home team to step up. Here's Hughes. Now the ball to Savetta, and it goes left. Could be promising for Blacktown. Here's a long-range shot from Hansen. Too many yellow jerseys in the way for her. Savetta as well to keep it alive. Now Shmonacek. Now Moore finding Hughes. But then Galliani was quick enough. And then as Hughes and Galliani batted it out. Works out for Hills. As it's always tough technique, that first time pass around the corner. I think Barrios not getting quite making contact with the right part of the boot to keep the play going. Now Savetta actually did really well to flick it over the head of a defender. Now it's McCutcheon. And McCutcheon followed all the way by Wilson. And the first sounds of that Blacktown City drum, if you've watched any kind of men's home game, I'd say, how long has that drum been around? 7 years now? Well, that's my guess. If you've watched any Blacktown City men's home game in the last 7 years, you'll have heard Chris and his drum, and it's good to see Chris is doing it for the women's first grade team as well, because Blacktown joined this competition at the same time as Hills for the start of the 2022 season. If I was feeling a little bit cheekier, I might identify the club that complained about said drum earlier this season. I will not, but I like the atmosphere. Don't listen to the haters, Chris. As there's Shmonacek, and again trying to flick it over Davidson, catch it the other side, but Easthope quick enough. It was a fairly easy catch for the Hill shot stopper. And good distance on the kick right onto Barrios' head, but the flick on, that's just going to run through to the keeper. So, if you notice that kick out from Sarah Eastham and thought, oh, the Hills keeper has a good boot on her, well, I've got a story from this year's Futsal National Championships for you. Sarah Easthope representing Football New South Wales Thunder in the National Championships on the Gold Coast in January, and didn't just keep goal and help Football New South Wales Thunder to win the Open Women's title for the second year in a row. She also scored in the semi-finals, I think. I can't remember who the other team was, where they were throwing the kitchen sink at it. The keeper was up. Easthope caught the ball, booted it, and scored. So, yeah, I love it. I love when a goalkeeper scores. So, there you go. Easthope clearly talented at both outdoor and futsal. Now Shannon, is quick enough to cause a little bit of havoc, more than a little bit of havoc. And what she clipped, she'll go on. Now Shannon, Barrios will be offside there, so a decent idea. A decent idea from Shannon, but Barrios had started her run a bit too early. Now it's Ivanovic. Is she? No, I think she's just shielding her eye from the setting sun. By the way, probably should apologise in advance, as those of you who've watched or are familiar with games at this venue, yes, the setting sun, when you're in the grandstand, it gets a bit difficult to see, especially in the second half, but yeah, we will try our best. Thankfully, at least, camera operator Willie today has got the camera aimed down as much as possible, so to try and kind of minimize the effects of the glare from the setting sun. Now, that's a good turn from Tassis. Shannon pinned up against the touchline, but finds Berrios anyway. Before it's the foot in there from a Thorpe, I think it was. And McCutcheon, she's looking for options. And the support does come eventually, but forced backwards, it goes to Cole. Hughes. And Hughes was stopped. I think that was Wilson. The good defending, and now Galea takes over for Hills. And Cole with the foot in there, and now Wilson, seeing that she has the time, just goes back to Galea. Galea lobbed it over the top, and Galliini held the defender off. Now the supporting run comes from Shannon. And Shannon is tracked. That's actually very nice defending, I think, from Amber Precious. Cole, another clean tackle. As the ball forward, Davidson takes over. Hills will try again. And we are in the final 5 minutes of regulation time at the end of the first half. Now, is there a little bit of a twist before the teams head to the dressing sheds, as that's good call's gone against Shannon. And Shannon, the first player into the book as well. So, of course, this being the match of the round, Justin Davies is off to the laptop because he's got to record all these yellow cards and whatnot. Also, by the way, with this setting sun, good luck, Justin, with the substitutes in the second half. Now, let's see, sorry, apologies, wasn't sure who the Blacktown player was. It was Olivia Moore, I think, who they're checking, but Blacktown also taking the opportunity for a quick drink before they restart. Of course, I mean, it's a cool weekend, but it's deceptively warm, especially if you're out there running. So, even though it's close to half time, always a good idea to kind of rehydrate. Now, here's Precious as we get back underway, and it'll go back to Ivanovic. Galea, and the space is a bit tight for Hills and for Wilson. That was a good scrambling near midfield by Blacktown as they end up getting the ball to go their way. Now Cole, decent distance on that throw, and a good flick on from Hansen. Just a bit too far in front of Savetta. Now Galliini, that's a good ball, and Shannon has found the speed to get in between a couple of defenders. The cross, I think that was Ainsley Byrne getting in the way. And yeah, Kaylee Shannon, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, former Blacktown City player. She made the switch to Hills United from memory in the mid-season window in the 2022 season. Thumbs up from Justin Davies. Yeah, my memories hasn't completely failed yet. Thanks, Justin, for the confirmation. I am pretty sure early in the 2022 season, while Shannon was at Blacktown City, she scored direct from a corner in the Olympico. So that could be something to look out on if she's on the set piece duty for Hills in this game. Also, given that Shannon has played for these two near neighbours, she has played for another club recently, and if you don't know it, there's almost no chance of you guessing it, because her career had taken her for a brief time to the Republic of Ireland with Shamrock Rovers in the youth academy there, so a good opportunity for her before to play in a top-tier club in the Republic of Ireland before coming back. As the flag's up and decision goes Hill's way. As Kaylee Shannon now back at Hills United. In fact, she was very instrumental in winning Hills United's first ever women's trophy last season when they won the 2023 Under-20s Championship in League One Women's. That included her, from memory, scoring twice in the final. And Shannon rewarded for her performances by being part of the first grade squad for this year. And now we are in stoppage time at the end of the first half. No, a fourth official in this competition, and given that we are the opposite side to the technical areas, might not be able to see that board anyway. But we'll just have to kind of guess a bit. I mean, a few stoppages, but might not be much more than the traditional 60 seconds of time added on to end the first half, which is almost up. And Hills perhaps with one last chance as Shannon goes over ahead, and it's headed away by Precious, and indeed that is it. So it's a case of so far so good for the League One women's leaders. Hills United, they lead by a goal to nil over Blacktown City as the teams head into the dressing rooms for the halftime break. That goal came on about the quarter-hour mark with Madison Tassis on her first grade starting debut, scored with a very lob strike from about 25 yards. And that Madison Tassis strike is what separates the two teams. So we will take a short break here. Thanks for joining us via the live tab on the Football New South Wales YouTube page. We'll go away for about 10 minutes and then we'll be back to cover the second half. See you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back for the second half of our coverage from Football New South Wales League One Women's. The match of the round for round 8 here at Landon Stadium in Seven Hills. And the score is currently Blacktown City 0, Hills United 1, courtesy of about a 25-yard strike from Madison Tasses on the quarter hour. There's the whistle, away we go for the second half. And of course I'll do my customary scanning the team sheet as there's a long-range shot from Ellen Berrios, which is fielded nicely by Anna Ivanovic. I'll do my customary scanning of the shirt numbers to see if there's been any subs made at half-time, as we do like this facility up here at Landon Stadium, but the slight drawback is that we are at the opposite side to the two technical areas. Of course, with Hills United in the lead, it'd be somewhat a surprise if Alan Tassis decided to make a change at halftime, so I'm expecting them to be as they were to begin this game. Now I'm just checking Blacktown to see if they might have made any changes, but there was Shimonicek looking for the overlapping run. I think that was from Thorpe. Thorpe at least made it difficult for Attar to play out. Now, of course, as Supercoach Matt Costantini walks up the stairs at Landon Stadium to get a nice view from the media box for the second half. I did note this is a 4 p.m. kickoff, and with all the other games at this round kicking off at either 3 p.m. or 3:30, I think, Justin, we might get some scores trickling in and, of course, take you around the grounds for the other scores in League One Women's from this round 8. Now, the 1-2 and Roberts try to bounce it off Berrios. She will settle for the throw. Of course, I did note this in the first half, but the setting sun, I've had to put my sunglasses on so I can see something. As it goes back to Ivanovic, and then she's decided to play it out at the touchline. There was the pressure coming in from a blind sense, so Blacktown will be happy that their keeper was aware of the pressure coming from where the keeper wasn't actually looking, if that makes sense. Now here's Tassis. They're taken away by the second defender. Now Shembri, as she looks to keep it alive. Now there's the through ball to Shannon. It was a decent idea with Shannon finding some space between defenders. The ball runs through to the goalkeeper. Okay, so I can confirm Hills are as they were to begin the game, so I'll just check Blacktown to see if they've made any changes, although I actually don't think so. So we might see the changes later on for both sides. Now, Berrios tried the flick, and Shannon looking to make a nuisance of herself, and then she'll go from range. There's one hop off the synthetic turf and a save from Ivanovic. Actually, the sun won't bother us for too long. It's actually, thankfully, it's about to go behind some trees, and you can see that they've actually turned the floodlights on here at Landon Stadium. There's Hughes with a good tackle in midfield, getting some encouragement from her teammates. Now Moore, and I think that was Shimonicek. Now Thorpe, and now McCutcheon. Well, there's a good run, running from all the way across on the other side, but that Hills defensive line stands firm, and McCutcheon's been caught offside. Actually, I'm very grateful for those trees in the distance. Now I actually realized I don't need my sunglasses. Just about. Berrios will chase, and appears to be covered by Byrne. Now Ivanovic, and back to Byrne. So that's well done from those two. Shimonicek, who was followed away by Plummer, and the ball breaks to Savetta. And Savetta, well, McCutcheon's fast, but Wilson, that time, got the jump of her. Plays it back to Easthope. Easthope finds Galliani. And those two players did mention earlier that Hills had been in the live stream game from League One Women's, the match there around 2 weeks ago, and really Easthope and Galliani, the two key players, or at least involved in the two most important moments for the women of the Hills that evening at Jensen Park. Because I said earlier, Gallieni scored the goal that ended up being the winner, and I think a few minutes after that, Sarah Easthope saved a penalty from Stephanie Ambrose. So two of the more experienced players for the Hills first grade side coming up big in front of our cameras. And here's Savetta. That's Hughes. And Hughes from range. And Easthope has that post covered and just lets it run wide for a goal kick. As Justin Davies, very interested in that long-range shot from the Welsh Wizard, and has run immediately to his laptop to make sure he notes down what time in the game that was. Now he's Attard. And it was blocked by Thorpe, who actually, good touch. The ball basically slammed her at her to take it to her feet. So now it's Blacktown in possession. So Wilson going long. There's some promising distance on that Zoe Wilson throw-in, so if Hills get an attacking throw-in down that side, she might just be able to hurl it straight into the box. Gallieni across the cover in front of McCutcheon. But now it's a Blacktown attacking throw-in. See, longer throw, Savetta was the target, and Shimonicek keeps it alive. Back to Hughes. And now Thorpe before Plummer takes over. Plummer towards Berrios, and Berrios will get the layoff to Attard. Now Shembry. And Shembry, she was looking for Gallieni. That's actually a good tackle from McCutcheon. Before Wilson takes over and goes back to Galea. Now, and the setting sun. Now the pitch almost covered in shadow, so it's pretty much a bit warm at the game started, but now you'd say pretty much perfect conditions for football. Certainly none of the wind or the rain that we saw yesterday. So hopefully this keeps it cool and we can see kind of nice up-tempo football for the remaining, 38 minutes or so, plus whatever stoppages the ref chooses to play. Hills United free kick coming up. Now Davidson looks like she'll go direct. And yep, there's Tassis up for that. And so it's Davidson towards Tassis, but it was over the number 15's head, and it's claimed by Ivanovic. Yeah, Galea, good defending. So they say never let the ball bounce. She made it hers, and then it's a bit unfortunate for Berrios, who had something to run onto, but is pinged for offside. Now, of course, this is round 8, so we're getting close to the time when we can potentially see players switch clubs mid-season. Now, of course, it would be very inappropriate of me to give details, but on such things, but I was actually speaking to both clubs beforehand, and they are very optimistic about what they can do in the mid-season window in terms of bringing in recruits. So that's something to keep an eye on, whether that's through our streams or through Justin Davies' previews and reviews of League One Women's. Of course, it is a very important part of success in any competition, not just how you recruit for the start of the season, but what you do in the middle of it once you've seen how the league's playing out. Thorpe flings it goalwards, and there's the header from Davidson. So Thorpe, assistant not here on the grandstand side, giving Thorpe another ball so we can keep this going without too much of a stoppage. Hopefully someone can get that ball that I can see just on the other side of the fence as Kaylee Shannon smashes it into the fence. Now Thorpe looking for options as Savetta goes short. That's where it goes. And then Tassis, good work there following Savetta, not letting her turn. There's Davidson towards Barrios, and Barrios not allowed to turn by, that was Byrne, who was defending well. Now Hughes, bit of a loose touch, gave Shembry, thought she had a shot at it, but it's played to McCutcheon. Hills squeezing the space immediately centrally, but Barrios has got a tough task. It was almost 1-on-6 for a moment there. Strength in numbers wins the battle for Blacktown, and now Thorpe again. Hansen. And Hansen finds Thorpe, who couldn't quite time a run, but that was better from Blacktown. They saw a gap, and they were almost able to play a killer ball into the middle of that Hills penalty area. Now, well, it's into a gap, but no one was there, and Aisling Davidson has had quite enough of that and has sent it out for a goal kick right at the other end of the field. But yes, if you might as well, for people who might have missed me running through the lineups of the intro, might as well confirm them again for you, because neither team yet to make a substitute. Yeah, so for the host, Blacktown in goal, number 1, Anna Ivanovic. I've got 4 defenders, so left back, number 5, Lexi Thorpe. Right back, number 26, Samantha Cole. And in central defence, number 18, Amber Precious. And number 2, Ainsley Byrne. 3 in midfield, their captain, number 11, Jenny Hughes, as well as number 15, Olivia Moore. And number 14, Amelia Savetta. And 3 up front, number 21, Eloise Hansen is the centre forward. On the left wing, number 7, Claire Shimonicek. And on the right wing, number 9, Elise May McCutcheon. Actually, we'll see how this later set piece plays out for Hills United. And it's Davidson once again to send it into the middle. It's a decent ball, but Ivanovic read it well, saw where the Hills players were, and saw none of them were going to meet that cross from Davidson, so a goal kick it is. So for Hills United there, as they were at the start of the game. So in goal is their captain, number 1, Sarah Easthope. 4 at the back. Left back is number 22, Zoe Wilson. Right back, number 21, Rani Plummer. In central defence, number 13, Desiree Galea, and number 3, Aisling Davidson. 4 in midfield at the base of the midfield, number 5, Olivia Shembry. Then in front of her, number 10, Bianca Galliini. Number 15, Madison Tassis, today's goal scorer, and number 7, Alex Attard. And the 2 up front for Hills, number 14, Ellen Barrios, and number 12, Kaylee Shannon. As Ivanovic sends it towards halfway. Now Hansen. And then I think it's a bit of an unfortunate one for Blacktown, because Hansen had dropped deeper to win the ball off the goal kick, and then there's no one that come into that centre forward spot that Hansen normally occupies. As there, the long kick from Easthope gets a touch off Blacktown, and now Hills the chance to play in Blacktown's half of the field. Now, of course, can't be offside from a throw, and Barrios knew that. She's going to keep it in near the corner flag, and win a throw in right by the corner flag. Let's see if Zoe Wilson will stretch the shoulders enough to fling it direct into the middle. Right, getting the shout from Galea, so instead it's going to go back to number 13, and Galea plays it into the middle. It's well read by Lexi Thorpe. Possible chance for a Blacktown counter-attack as Wilson and Galea scramble back for Hills. I think that's actually good pressing in the centre to stop a quick break from Blacktown. And more good defending, and Galliini looks content to settle for a throw-in right in front of the Hills bench. Now, that's big time for also another reminder of the 2 sets of substitutes, because almost at the hour mark as Barrios presses Byrne. About the time when coaches like to make subs, so just a reminder of the two bench options. So Blacktown coach Michael Hawthorne, he can choose from Sophie Roberts, Tiana Anderson, Lucia Franulovic, Lara Green, Annabelle Gerard, and the backup keeper Amy Harkin. Hills coach Alan Tassis, he can choose from Brooke Hasty, Bella Donaldson, Ashley Houston Richardson, Helena Berridge. By the way, congratulations to Helena. It's her first time in the first grade matchday squad for 2024. There's also Portia Berrios, and the backup keeper is Bridget Bryan. Now, yes, good old dribble and good old teams that upload scores properly when they're supposed to, because there is a score from Cook Park, not the one in Mount Pritchard, the one in St Mary's, and it's Nepean FC 2, Marconi Stallions 3. So Michael Beecham's side galloping to victory there in Sydney's West. Thanks for laughing, Justin. Yes. That brings the total number of people who laughed at that joke to 1. But yes, I think Marconi had a tough time in front of our cameras earlier against Bankstown City, so good to see Michael Beecham's team getting a win there. By the way, the other fixtures, just for those of you who are interested and would like a holistic view of League One Women's. So yes, we just spoke about Marconi defeating Nepean by 3-2. The other games, St George FC versus Southeast Phoenix, Camden Tigers versus South Coast Flame, SD Raiders versus Inter Lions, Bankstown City versus Mount Druitt Town Rangers, and there's another game scheduled, but it has been washed out. It was meant to be up at Plume Park on the Central Coast between Central Coast Mariners and Sutherland Strikers, but that pitch deemed to not be suitable for play today, so I suppose it is fortunate that the same fate did not befall the A-League Women's semi-final in the same area, also on the Central Coast, between Central Coast Mariners and Sydney FC. So now all those Mariners players can go free to watch the game. That's fortunate for them, isn't it? And by the way, that first leg of the A-League Women's semi-final at Central Coast Stadium was a 1-0 win to Sydney FC. They'll take that into the second leg, which is on Saturday the 27th at Leichhardt Oval. I think that's a 3 p.m. kickoff. Now, Berrios looking for support. Finds it with Attard. It's a bit narrow. They need some wide runners possibly, although Shannon will make a good go of this and burns under pressure from both Shannon and Berrios. She clears it to safety, by the way, just because I like being complete in the other A-League Women's semi-final first leg at Maitland. By the way, a great crowd, almost 7,000 people. Newcastle Jets 0, Melbourne City 3 as the score in the first leg there. So a tough one for the Jets as they go into the second leg away at Melbourne. But we will see a Hills United double sub, and now we've got to keep eyes all over the field because you can leave the field from anywhere these days. But Desiree Galea, after a pretty solid shift for about an hour or so in the Hills Central defence, she'll make way. And Ellen Berrios is the other player. Thanks, Justin. Ellen Berrios. Teamwork there. It's like you can't look in two different places at once. But Desiree Galea and Ellen Berrios making way.
Desiree Galea and number 14, Ellen Berrios, coming onto the field. Number 8, Bella Donaldson, and number 18, Ashley Houston Richardson.
Well, I certainly hope our mics are good enough to pick that up. Well done to you, Rachel Chaloops, for some very good ground announcing. And she is a lot better than some ground announcers that I know. Anyway, but just in case you didn't catch that, Desiree Galea, for Hills, Desiree Galea and Ellen Berrios, replaced by number 8, Bella Donaldson, and number 18, Ashley Houston Richardson. So we'll see after this set piece if that's any kind of a reshuffle that's been done by Alan Tassis. Corner coming up, Tassis to deliver. Ivanovic could be under pressure, but it's a good claim with runners coming in. And Aisling Davidson, who's already scored 3 times this season, was one of them. It's very, very safe hands from the Blacktown City shot stopper. Ooh, see, I'll just check on, sees Elise May McCutcheon and Waves. Bit of a sore one when feet collide, but she hasn't gone to the turf, so looks like she'll be a tough character and run that off. And go across to Roberts. Now, Rani Plummer started her overlapping run, but there's the shout from Shannon. And will the bounce favour her? Not quite, but she'll get it just outside the box. Support comes from Galliini. She looks up and delivers, but that's Jenny Hughes charging down the cross and blocking it before the Hills runners could make a play at it. Savetta. Hughes is in the way again. And then Cole with something to chase, and all eyes on AR1 on the far side, but Sam Cole quick enough to keep that in play. Now Shannon tried to bring that down, was immediately under pressure from, I think, Amber Precious. Now it's sent towards Houston Richardson, one of the newly introduced players for Hills. Now it's a nice turn from Gallieni, who didn't have a lot of space to work with, but she walked the tightrope, and then it's too physical from Houston Richardson there, and she has fouled Ainsley Byrne. Now, is that Alex Attard, the one that was fouled there? So about midway through the second half here. And it'll be Tassis to deliver this set piece. It's decent, and first touch, I think, from Blacktown as Attard running in, had the strike, didn't get it cleanly, but here's Shannon inside the box. She's trying to work space for the cross, and to the byline she goes, and from a very acute angle, Kaylee Shannon hits the post. Or it would have been some goal if she'd squeezed it in from such a tight angle, and Kaylee Shannon does not add to a tally of 6 goals for the season. Yes. Shannon, after being the leading scorer for the Hills under-20s last year, is currently the leading scorer for the Hills women's first grade team. Here's Attard and back to Plummer. And I think she quite got the contact right. But by the way, shout out to Plummer and every other player who chooses to wear a ribbon in their hair, which makes them a lot easier to identify out on the field. Us media really appreciate it. And of course, Ronnie Plummer also standing out for the work she's been doing on the right side of the Hills defense. Hasn't let too much go past her this afternoon. Now, okay, now that I've had a chance to look at how Hills United are lining up after that double sub, it does look like Bella Donaldson, who's on the ball right now. She's gone into midfield, and Olivia Shembry has gone into central defence to replace, to fill the gap left by Desiree Galea, so a bit of a swap there. And the other substitution Alan Tassis made looks to be a straight swap. Ashley Houston Richardson up front, where Ellen Berrios operated for the first hour or so. And Blacktown City are yet to make a sub. Justin Davies patiently waits so he can record such things. Of course, you'll be able to read Justin's wrap of this game. This is the match of the round, and the other 5 games that are being played today in League One Women's. That'll be up later tonight or possibly early tomorrow morning on Football New South Wales League socials. One to chase for Houston Richardson, and there was a bit of hesitation from Ivanovic, but she got there in the end and claims it right on the edge of their penalty box. Just over 20 minutes left here. Hills United still leading Blacktown City by a goal to nil. A goal came after 15 minutes from Madison Tasses, a goal on her first grade starting debut. So had made a couple of first grade appearances before now, but she has something to remember, her first start in the Hills United top team by. Very nice strike too. High from 25 yards. Would highly recommend going back on the stream and watching it if you haven't already. Also, yes, I did mention earlier Olivia Shembry was kind of the holding midfielder for Hills, so now Madison Tassis looks to be filling that role, and Bella Donaldson playing a bit further forward as there's a very late one, and the first Blacktown card of the game going to, apologies, Jenny Hughes. Yep, Justin Davies thinks it's Jenny Hughes. Yep, I think I can see an armband, so yep, and he is right, as always, so it's a pretty straightforward decision because that unfortunately was quite a late tackle. Set piece coming up. Davidson's gone far post. I think that's going to be Tassis delivering it. And 5 targets for Tassis Daymat, plus Galliani hanging on the edge of the box. And off a Blacktown head and offside. Followed by a little bit of disappointment from Justin Davies. He thought he was going to have something to add to his report, but not to be. Not this time, Justin. Now, there's the high press from Hills. Of course, they're not sitting deep. People generally don't like that. You don't want to encourage the pressure, even as you're leading later into the state, later into a game. Now, Plummer. As the floodlights start to kick in. Love football played under floodlights. Header from McCutcheon and Hughes. Now with one runner, that's Hansen. Trying to stretch the legs. Shembry is across as well and plays it safe, playing it over the sideline. By the way, just a reminder that, and if after you finish watching this game, you're not done watching the New South Wales Women's Football Leagues, trust me, you've got a lot of choice today. Yes, there was a few, as that's gone out, so yeah, it's gone out, yep. Had the cross out Easter backpedaling, but ball went out of play first. But yes, after this game, you could switch over to Bulls FC Academy versus Illawarra Stingrays, called by a player from from the under-20s in this competition. Interline's under-20 player Annabelle Banfield's on the mic there at Northbridge Oval for Bulls versus Stingrays. There's also Manly United versus Sydney Olympic. Big clash, 3rd versus 2nd. There's also Sydney Uni versus RPL Leichhardt, or the Tory Truman Trophy as I like to call it. And as Davidson gets in the way, good positioning there from Hills number 3. There's also MacArthur Rams versus Blacktown Spartans from Linwood Park. So Rams coach Stephen Peters up against one of his former clubs, and also I like what I saw on social media today. It's also you could also choose from University of New South Wales versus Northwest Sydney Spirit, called by what is he still a current University of New South Wales student, Will Constantinidis. He put out a very clever tweet. The first time I've been to uni on a Sunday. I'm like, well done. He gets to call a game of football. In fact, actually, I remember Will. He actually walked out of a class last year and saw like the completion of like a League One women's semi-final. So, which was, well, I won't go into the details. They had to play the rest of it on a Tuesday night, so that worked out well for Will. But that's enough tangents, at least for the next couple of minutes. His Blacktown set piece, Precious, and she varies it up, and now McCutcheon delivers from out wide. Easthope is up, and it's not been claimed. It's still alive here, and Hills trying to get in the way. Now it's a chance for Shimonicek, and Hills eventually get it away. Well, the variation almost found the equalizer for Blacktown. Clever from Precious, because McCutcheon was in a lot of space on the far side. That cross caused absolute mayhem. Hills doing just enough to stay 1-0 in front. Is that Hansen? Yes. Hansen, they double up on her. And then I think she was pinged for a shirt pull on Alex Attard. Oh, yes, and the other game you could switch over to after this one. It's from the Arctic Circle. Our nickname, the Football New South Wales media's nickname for that particular ground in Macquarie Park. It's Gladesville Ravens facing Northern Tigers, and that one being called by the Serbian Martin Tyler, Nikola Pozder. And in case you're wondering why I call it the Arctic Circle, it's a nickname, but someone complained. Someone actually complained that I said that name too much in commentary last year, and so my decision was to never use the actual name for that ground ever again in commentary. Well done to that person. Next time, keep your thoughts to yourself. But yes. I mean, if you're going to complain about a nickname that was already used on Football New South Wales socials, what do you think is going to happen? You don't always have to be serious. I mean, I have been referred to by my nickname, the Filipino Flyer, on Football New South Wales socials, so, football's supposed to be fun. And that's what us Football New South Wales media want to keep in mind and to kind of convey to you, the viewers and the readers of our articles. As Davidson ended up, that's a decent touch off the thigh, bringing it towards Wilson. And now Hughes with the through ball. It's a big effort there from Lexi Thorpe, but the ball is going to skip away from her. So looking at this, I suppose in the interest of completeness, there is also I should see though that's run out of play, but there's also a men's match you could switch to after this one. It's actually at Leichhardt Oval, RPL Leichhardt taking on Rockdale Illingdon. I think I've covered all the options for you, should you wish to stick around on the Football New South Wales YouTube page after this one's done. That's Hansen, back to Hughes. Now, it was the right idea because Lexi Thorpe has shown quite a great deal of energy on the left-hand side for Blacktown today, making another run. The pass goes astray, and I think East Hope's just going to settle this down because they are still, for the Hills United faithful, heart rates might still need to fall a little bit after that goal-mouth scramble from a couple of minutes ago. And here's Shannon. Shannon, and it was always going to be an awkward height for Houston Richardson. That runs through to Ivanovic. Sorry, everyone, it's just gotten a bit dark, and I just asked Justin if he can turn the light on in the box for us. Of course, it's going to be trial of error as he figures out which one turns it on. I've been here before. It's definitely one of those buttons. But yes, I can't judge. There we go. I can never remember which one it is either. Yes. Yeah, sorry everyone, I just needed to ask him to do that because I actually couldn't see my notes anymore. Subs coming up. I think it's going to be another Hills United double sub. So I don't see a blue keeper's jersey, so Bridget Bryan would not be one of the subs. So Madison Tassis and Alex Attard are making way. We figured that bit out. Coming on, number 6, Brooke Hasty, and number 20, Elena Berridge, who, yes, as I said earlier, this is her first time in the Hills Women's First Grade squad for 2024, and she'll get a run about 11 minutes plus any stoppages that the ref chooses to add.
Coming onto the field, number 20, Helena Berridge, and number 6, Brooke Hasty. Coming off the field, number 7, Alex Attard, and number 15, Madison Edmonds.
Now, in fact, well, It's going to be Justin's worst nightmare. Blacktown have made a sub immediately after a double sub from the other team. Hopefully Rachel can identify the shirt numbers quicker than I can. Looks like Hughes, I reckon, judging by the red boots, and possibly because she's already been booked, I reckon Jenny Hughes is the player that's been replaced. As Davidson will have to scramble, but got there ahead of the press from Shimonicek. Oh no, my bad, Hughes is still on the field. Okay, so that's a shocker for me. I'm sorry, everyone. Oh, yes, yeah. So it was someone else with reddish, orangish boots. It wouldn't be my commentary if I didn't drop an obvious clanger at least once, or twice, or 4 times. Now, there's flying in there Gallieni, who's kind of an attacking playmaker for Hills, but does a fair share of work off the ball. Good tackle there. There we go.
Coming off the field, sponsored by TST Property Maintenance, Elise May McCutcheon. There we go.
Yes. And a little bit of a sponsor plug. Great. More great ground announcing work from Rachel Chalhoub there. And Tiana Anderson, number 10, replaces Elise May McCutcheon. Been a willing runner out wide, as always, for Blacktown. She'll get a bit of an early mark. So, trying to see where Anderson is set up and if that's a straight swap, but just a case of Michael Hawthorne wanting some fresh legs out wide for the final 10 minutes. Now, here's Hasty. Hasty, actually a good player for Hills to bring off the bench. Lots of first-grade appearances for Hills. And it was an unfortunate injury which caused her to miss the end of last season, including the grand final. So it's good to see the Hills number 6 back and fit enough to take part in proceedings. Now, Hills might be thinking more in terms of game management because they were happy to hold it between the centre backs and the keeper, at least for a time being, before they went forward. So the impetus certainly with Blacktown as they hope to chase what would now be quite a late equaliser. I do wonder, because I was kind of amused by it in the game I called last night. It was actually a NPL men's game between St. George FC and Hills United. St. George FC defending the 1-goal lead and then just very cheekily putting a second ball onto the field whenever they could before Hills substitute decided to boot it about 70 metres away. And actually, speaking of, that's a pretty decent boot as well to Tiana Anderson. He's found space in behind, and Wilson has drawn the ire of the assistant on the far side. And that's going to be a Blacktown free kick. And a chance, possibly, for the home team to equalise. Now, the customary signal from the ref, wait for my whistle. And 2 in the wall, set by Sarah Easthope. One of them is Kaylee Shannon. I think, Justin, now I've got to confirm you. That's Jenny Hughes taking the set piece? I hope so. Hopefully I'm right with that one. Anyway, the Welsh Wizard contemplating what she'll do with this dead ball. It's a decent delivery. Hasty's up. That's a good header. She read it well, read the flight of it. Now Shannon decides just to go for distance. And one Hills player imploring her teammates to step up and kind of press Blacktown. Here's Davidson. And it will break for Shannon. Now Houston Richardson, and Shannon wanted the ball over the top. If it spins away, she could be in here. Here's Shannon and Ivanovic. Great sweeper keeping. Good distance on the clearance as well. And Ivanovic, despite being on the losing side, she's had a pretty good game. Handled most of the things as came her way. Couldn't really do much about that spectacular goal from Madison Tassis early on, which separates the two sides. And yes, of course, keepers. It's not just about what you do with your hands, and Ivanovic was very, very quick with her feet when she needed to be. Wilson chucks it down the line. Gains about 5 meters. So she'll do it again. And why not? She gains 10 meters with that one. Now, it looks like a longer throw. Yeah, she's going to try. Zoe Wilson trying to do her best Megan Campbell impersonation. It's held up by Shannon, and then the shot. That was from Gallieni, but I think she was just, unfortunately for her, a bit off balance as she struck it. So I was just looking around the grounds. Actually, no, I will not look around the grounds because there's another Blacktown sub. Any chance of me doing better with this one? Actually, Lexi Thorpe has come off the field at the grandstand side, so she's the player off. And then coming on, wait patiently for that player to turn around so we can see the shirt number. Also, I think it's number 6, Sophie Roberts.
Substitution made for Blacktown.
Yeah, I see what's going.
Coming onto the field, number 6, Sophie Roberts. Coming off the field, number 5, Lexi Thorpe.
Now, actually, perhaps Michael Hawthorne has gone into kitchen sink mode because it does look like he's put a defender off and brought a midfielder on, which would be Sophie Roberts. And also, it does look like he's chucked Jenny Hughes up front for the remainder of this game. Okay, so another update. Thank you. As Justin Davies goes around the ground on our behalf at Jensen Park. Bankstown City 2, Mount Druitt 3. So that's the scores that have come in so far. A couple of 3-2 away wins. Now, Shannon up into the air, and there's a good chase from Houston Richardson. The two Blacktown City defenders in that area stop any more progress. Hasty wasn't able to keep that in play. Just going around the ground, so of course Blacktown City do have a very well-known men's team. That's why some people call them the pride of Western Sydney, but a bit rough for them today. And another derby, you could say, as they lost 3-0 away to the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy. So the Wanderers Academy staying top of the table in NPL Men's New South Wales. And what a great job, by the way, done by Wanderers Academy first grade head coach Andrew Christensen. His young team flying high at the top of NPL Men's New South Wales. And they've registered some very, very impressive wins so far. Actually thinking about it, because Andrew Christensen's from the Northern Beaches, as is Wanderers A-League women's star Sophie Harding. So it is interesting that the football team from Western Sydney is being led to success by people from the Northern Beaches. So in that sense, it's the opposite of Manly United social media. Now another score from Ernie Smith Reserve, a ground very beloved to Justin Davies, SD Raiders 4, into Lions 2. So, high scoring affairs elsewhere, but not here. Just the solitary goal separating Hills United as we about to enter the 89th minute. Now, actually, sorry, I couldn't be confused as to how this was going to restart. The answer is a drop ball, which was uncontested by Hills. But, well, the drop ball was uncontested, and then the next touch most definitely was contested. Okay. Wilson, yet another fling down the line, and that's really a good ability to have for most situations, but especially when you're defending a one-goal lead and you could just gain territory like that. Now, let's see how ambitious they are with the throw. Wilson going direct. Now, who picks up the scraps? It's Berridge. And then Gallieni lobbing it back to Davidson, and forward it's Donaldson. So Shimonicek needs to go back and defend. She clears over the sideline. This is exactly where Hills United want it in the 90th minute while defending a 1-goal lead. And in fact, Rani Plummer now, they're definitely in game management mode now. I think there was the shout for Rani Plummer just to hold it by the corner flag. And they're definitely in game management mode. They're making a sub in the 90th minute now. So it's a good shift for, I think that's going to be Kaylee Shannon coming off. She does not add to a 6-goal tally for 2024. Gets a little bit of an early mark. So the player coming on should be Portia Berrios then by process of elimination, because that's the 5th and final sub for Hills. I'm going to guess that they didn't give Bridget Bryan an outfield jersey for some reason. That'd be different, but that's not what they've done. And here we go. Hills continue to try and keep it near that corner flag, but there's the delivery from Berridge. It's played out of the area. Stoppage time now. And of course, it's a little bit old school in this sense, because for the kids out there, there never used to be a 4th official, so we just needed, back in the day, we just had to guess how much time the ref was going to add on. Foot in there from Donaldson. And Donaldson again looks up, she delivers, and it's at an awkward height for that defender, and Houston Richardson almost thought she could have a play at it. Flung down the line by Plummer. Now, Houston Richardson, and that will end up being a goal kick. Blacktown City have a long way to go. They haven't got much time left. Now, that's Berridge, and Berridge looks up. She'll go from way out, and Ivanovic actually is just very coolly lets that go over the goal line. This is exactly where Blacktown don't want the ball. Now we're deep into stoppage time. Hasty, breaking things up. Now Galliani looked for Wilson, but gave her too much of a chase. And will that ball stay in? It's Hasty again, just happy to let it run out. And she's going to take as much time, I think, as she's allowed to by the officials. Yeah. Zoe Wilson throw-ins are getting longer. Like her shoulders must be properly warmed up by now. There we go. There we go. There you go. She'll try again. And Hill's just about home. We've almost had 3 minutes of time added on. So they're still, being pretty proactive as well with the pressing. As I said earlier, you don't want to sit deep in this situation and invite pressure. Now, there's a touch, but that will be that. In League One Women's, it's a case of death, taxes, and Hills United clean sheets because they've defeated Blacktown City by 1-0. The goal came early on, after about 15 minutes, from Madison Tassis, who celebrated her first start for the club in first grade with a goal from 25 yards. That was the end of the scoring. Well, I hope you stick around on the Football New South Wales YouTube page and switch to one of our other women's football streams for this weekend. You got your choice from 6 NPL Women's New South Wales games. Bulls FC Academy versus Illawarra Stingrays, called by Annabelle Banfield. There's also Manly United versus Sydney Olympic, Sydney University versus RPL Leichhardt, MacArthur Rams versus Blacktown Spartans, and UNSW versus Northwest Sydney Spirit, called by Wilkins Santonidis, the UNSW student. You could also pick Gladesville Ravens versus Northern Tigers, called by Nicola Posder. But for now, this is Eric Subihano signing off for the Football New South Wales YouTube page. Keep an eye out for Justin Davies' report of this Round 8 of League One Women's, which will be available on the Football New South Wales League's socials later tonight. On behalf of Justin, our camera operator Willie, and Football New South Wales, thanks for joining us today with our League One Women's coverage. We hope to see you soon. Wishing you plenty of good vibes, great coffee, sick tattoos, razzlers, and derby victories for your team. See you next time.